Welcome. Thank you for stopping by here today. Hopefully, we can provide some amazing value for you and help share with how we're able to get rid of these big hanging bellies without a tummy tuck, all done under local anesthesia while you're awake. Many of you may have been turned down for liposuction, turned down for a tummy tuck, saying you're too big, that you have to be your ideal weight, and that's just simply not the case. With liposuction, we can remove large volumes of fat, make significant, dramatic changes in a short period of time, all without a tummy tuck. All done under local anesthesia while you're awake. Literally, we take this fat out and the skin tightens up. And it happens every time. And this is not the only patient. We're gonna have lots and lots of examples today. And if you're interested in finding out more information about this, we have a private Facebook group where you can actually communicate with our previous patients and talk to them and ask them questions. So these pictures that you see up here, you can actually go communicate with these people. You can go ask them specifically what they think about the procedure, what they think about the results. You know, each individual has their own challenges. So these pictures that you see, nobody starts perfect and nobody ends perfect. It's the goal is not perfection. The goal is way better than what it was before. She had a huge belly. This is limiting. She was hiding because of it. When I say limiting, I mean she's got this big, huge belly that's hanging there, and it's a mass. It's weight. It folds down and puts pressure on the lower back, the lumbar spine. It also puts a significant amount of pressure on the knees and all over your joints. All the extra weight that you carry causes all kinds of issues with the joints. So getting rid of that belly was more than just cosmetic. You know, clearly cosmetically, it's amazing. It's unbelievable. The fact that that belly's out of the way, she can access her pelvic area, her pubic area, her private parts, whatever you guys want to call it. I mean, people don't talk about that. But when you can't see it, you can't find it, you don't know, it's hard to clean there. It's hard to maintain and manage. I mean, these are the things that people don't really talk about. But liposuction eliminates that. It eliminates that folding belly. A lot of the people, when you have that fold there, you'll have moisture or warmth that forms right at the fold, just kind of like the armpit, right? You get sweating, you get moisture. Sometimes you get rashes. Occasionally, people will get infections. So when you have this hanging belly, it's so restrictive that it causes a lot of issues in your life. I had a couple consultations today where the individuals were very large, and the belly, they were explaining to me how limiting the belly is and how they hide from everything and how they cover up everything. But I had some great information that I heard today. One of our consultations, she has been taking ketones for a week now. So some of you, you may be aware of the ketone supplements. So she's been taking the ketones for 1 week now, and in 1 week, she lost 12 pounds in preparation for her procedure coming up next week. And so she's super excited. She's continuing the ketones. Hopefully she can lose more weight before the procedure, and then continue to lose weight after the procedure. So once we get the fat off of your belly, this is the things that I can do. But it's important that you still continue on and live your best life and become your best version to continue the advancement and growth of your body, mind, and spirit. In order to get the best long-term results, we have to holistically approach it. So we have to approach you, your body, your mind, and spirit in a holistic fashion, because all of it needs to change in order to maintain and get the best possible results. Now, if you just simply take the fat away on an individual like this and they don't change their lifestyle habits, they continue to do the things that cause this larger individual, it's just a matter of time. That's it. It's like a ticking time bomb. It's just a matter of time until they regain that weight and they recreate the same problems that they had before, the same insecurities, all that stuff. It'll come right back, and you'll remember because of the fat. You'll remember because of the fat. So the key is to maintain afterwards, and that's what these ketone supplements are able to do. They make the whole process easier for you. The ketone supplements get your body into ketosis. Ketosis is a state of being when your body is burning fat cells instead of sugar and carbohydrates. So this is the purpose of the keto diet, again, is also to get you into ketosis. So the ketone supplement, it works almost like a trigger in your body. And it triggers the operating system to switch. Normally, our normal operating system is that to burn fuel, we usually use carbohydrates and sugar. When you burn the carbohydrates and sugar, we get a quick burn fast, and it's super hot and you get lots of energy. Like, for example, like you eat carbohydrate breakfast and you get all pumped up, yay. Then 9 o'clock you crash. Okay, now you need to drink coffee. So now you get woo, up and down, whoop, up and down. And so we get these spikes and crash and energy all throughout the day, which is not sustainable, and nor is it healthy for you. So when you're in ketosis, it's a whole nother ball of wax. It's kind of crazy. And you really, I can explain this in words, but you have to experience it yourself. When you just have this, I call it my unlimited power, my unlimited energy, because it feels like I'm just not tired anymore. I don't make those bullshit excuses about saying I'm too tired to do this, I'm too tired to do that, or I don't want to go out tonight, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that, because you're tired. And look, when you're tired and you limit yourself, it's not your best life. Let me repeat that. When you're tired and you're limiting yourself and not doing the things that you want to do because you're too tired, that's not your best life. And you have no idea how much you're actually limiting yourself. Let's see, real quick here, a couple questions. Thank you guys all for joining. I appreciate it. Those of you that are now following. Okay, why does the belly look darker? Okay, good question. So different style, Inspiro. Okay, anyways. So why does it look darker? So what the technique that I utilize in order to get this fold to go away, it's a special technique that I developed. It's a proprietary technique. Nobody else knows this. I developed it from thousands and thousands of procedures by helping people like this. And so when I'm faced with challenges, I come up with solutions. When I'm faced with challenges over and over and over, I get repetition. So I figured out how to solve this problem to get rid of that hanging belly. And then I did it thousands of times to get it consistent, and now we get these results consistently every time. And the skin always tightens up, and here's how it works. So this technique that I developed is you have to get the fat out evenly. So it's got to be the same thickness, about this thick. This is what, like a 1/4 inch, so the same thickness, but here's the key. It has to be uniform throughout the entire area. And at this thickness, something happens. The skin seems to have this bond that holds it in position. And when I'm breaking up the connective tissue through liposuction, it breaks some of these bonds. And when we get to this thickness, it seems to unlock the bond. And the bond all throughout the whole area, you'll see the skin contracts. And this happens right in front of your face. And so when you ask about the darkness, what's happening is, since the skin's contracting like this, the pigmentation, the little cells, the pigmentation, the melanocytes, those are the dark sites that give this color. When it's stretched out, just like a balloon, right? When you blow into a blue balloon, it's really dark when it's contracted and no air in it. But when you expand it out, it gets a lot lighter because the pigmentation, the coloring of the balloon gets stretched out. Same thing happens in your skin. So when she's bigger, it's stretched out, and those melanocytes are stretched out further apart from one another. So it'll give the visual appearance that it's lighter in color. Now, when we remove the fat and we get to this thickness right here, and the skin contracts, things come tighter together. So the melanocytes, the pigmentation gets closer to each other. Now, this is the visual representation of the skin tightening up. It's a visual representation. So when I see the skin start to get darker, I know I'm doing the job that I need to do. And you do too. You can see this stuff. That's the reason why. It has to tighten up. It has to tighten up every time. It doesn't matter if there's loose skin, stretch marks, thin skin, hanging belly, pregnancy, C-section scars. None of that stuff matters. It doesn't matter. Once you get the fat out in the same thickness, the skin tightens up and it unlocks. It's awesome. Awesome. And it's consistent. I've done this thousands of times. Okay, what is the difference on chin lipo with J plasma and no J plasma? Well, I don't know J plasma because we don't utilize that technology. It's an energy-based technology. I'm familiar with it, but we just don't have it. If you look at the videos, it looks like it's a flamethrower. It's kind of scary. But anyhow, we utilize the Smart Lipo laser, which is also an energy-based technology. It's just by a different company. Smart Lipo is the brand. And the laser is passed underneath the skin and it heats up the inner surface of the skin and causes a contraction. And it's been shown through studies that it stimulates collagen growth for about 6 months after the procedure. Agnes, do you still do 15% to the military? Yes. Yes, we will. Gotta have proof. Okay, will the darkness go away? So I'm going to say yes, because that's what people have told me. However, I don't know exactly the time length. I don't have enough information, so people haven't shared that information with me enough. However, the people that I've actively engaged with that conversation, because most people don't even notice or most people don't even say anything, so it's not something that I would normally address. But the people that have addressed that, they have told me that the skin tone does go back into the regular, uniform color. So when I say uniform, it's like whatever your normal color is, it'll be uniform all throughout. So that's what people say. But I don't know for sure. That'd be something, if you're concerned about it, I would go talk to the girls in the private Facebook group, and they can give you more information about their specific experience with that phenomenon. So is it one session? Yes, this is one session. All these procedures are one procedure. This is all the fat off the belly for one procedure, and the goal is that we get enough out the first time so you never have to do this procedure again. That's ideal. What's up, Sonia Vega? I just saw your pictures, Sonia. No, Sonia. You're coming 2 weeks or 1 week. What was it? That's not Vanessa. Valerie Velasco. I forgot. Anyhow. I know her pictures look phenomenal. So I think Sonia's sister, I forgot her name is. Is it Valerie? Vanessa? Dang it, I keep forgetting. I know it's Velasco. She just showed her pictures on the private Facebook group, and she looks amazing. And she's a perfect example of an individual that had loose skin, had stretch marks, had the hanging belly, and we got a significant volume off of her to make awesome changes. And the hanging belly goes away, and the skin tightened up. And not only that, it looks smooth and even and uniform, and that's magical, because you guys probably have no idea. I know I make this stuff look easy, but it's extremely difficult. Most doctors won't even talk to you, won't even talk to you. And I'm sure you guys know that experience. That's probably why you're here, because I'm welcoming you with open arms. These patients would have been turned away from anywhere else they go, I promise you. But I make this stuff look easy, but I promise you it is not easy. And there's always the possibility that things don't turn out the way that we want. When I'm personally taking massive risk for you to get the results, you have to realize that when you take massive risk, when you have huge, complicated issues, there's always a possibility that things don't turn out the way that we want. There's always a possibility that bad things happen. It's always a possibility going any of these procedures, and it doesn't matter who you are. But when we get the more complex situations, it's like those risks, everything elevates. And so I say this not to scare you, but to kind of unload a little bit of the pressure off of me, because I'm taking a lot of risk in trying to do these procedures for these patients and get these awesome results. But it's sometimes it doesn't work out, but not because of me, but just because of the situation that I'm facing. And the challenges that we face. And sometimes it's just like I do everything that I can do, and it doesn't happen the way that we want it to happen. Fortunately, I haven't had one of those situations in a long time. And it seems like all of these procedures that we're doing, the results are coming out amazing, and people are super happy. And so, but I'm always, there's always this little this nervousness about me personally, and I'm worried that things aren't going to turn out the way that they want, especially when I take I take on these huge problems, these huge issues. I mean, like she came to me and like, look at the belly's hanging, all this stuff. And I know if you guys probably can't see this, but horrible stretch marks, like big wide stretch marks, very very loose skin. It almost has this like soggy feel to it, if you guys know what I'm talking about, that soggy feel, because there's no like elasticity. It's like it seems to be it's gone, but yet afterwards you can still see the stretch marks, but the belly's gone. You can still see the stretch marks, but everything tightened up. You can still see the stretch marks, but it's flat, smooth, it's even. Like, that's amazing. It's absolutely amazing that this is possible, and the fact that you don't have to cut any of the skin away, and it's all done under local anesthesia is mind blowing. It's mind blowing. And those of you who maybe you've had other procedures somewhere else, those are the people who are uniquely positioned to understand just how freaking amazing this is. Because when you go somewhere else and you realize that they didn't get these results because they don't know what the hell they're doing, because that's the only reason you don't get these results. And here's the problem. This is the big problem. I developed the techniques, so I don't know anybody else who actually knows how to accomplish this consistently the way that I do it. It's consistent every time, consistent. I've built this muscle memory, and I'm like a beast, a machine. I just, when I go to work, and I know you guys know what I'm talking about. My previous patients, I'm like a machine. I've developed this mind, this body, it's all habits. I've created the muscle memory in order to do the same thing consistently over and over and over. And when I do that, it's how we get the consistent results, right? If every time I was making some stuff up, if I was struggling, it would be a challenge. And these are really hard, really hard. But physically, I'm an endurance athlete, and I have already pushed myself far beyond my perceived limits. I already know I can do way more than I think I can. The challenging situations, like it's hard physically. Like my arms are sore at the end of the day, but that doesn't stop me. Okay, and I'm never going to make a bullshit excuse saying, "Oh, my arms are sore." You'll never ever hear me say that shit. I'll talk about it afterwards, like when I'm at home, and I'll be sore, but I'll never complain about it, and it'll never be an excuse. I always get the results, and I always show up. That's just how I am, and I hope that mental mindset, that way of thinking, I hope that energy reverberates into you, and that you also will then start showing up. When I say show up, I mean being there for the decisions and waking up when you're supposed to decide, what am I supposed to eat today? Wake up and make the right decisions. Stop making those dumbass decisions, right? I do them too. I do them too. But you got to wake up right at that moment and make the right decision and get away from the bad decisions, because the bad decisions, they only will get you back to where you were. Okay? If you keep doing the same mistakes, the same problems, the same issues, if you keep causing them, it just repeats. So we as humans will continue to repeat the same problems until we learn our lessons. And when you learn your lessons, what that means is you learn how to avoid the problem. In many cases, it's doing things counterintuitive to what you thought it should be done, or the way that you normally do things. So some of you may have seen my post. I got to see Jay Shetty. Jay Shetty. He's the monk. He's the Indian dude. If you guys, I'm sure you've seen his inspirational stuff. He has like 30 million viewers across all the platforms, and guys, he's amazing. He spoke a lot of the same lessons that I teach, but he had different ways of saying this stuff. He has just a unique way of describing things and delivering the message, and so the transmission of the lessons, I think, get transmitted very well. So with him, he talked about a couple of things that were really interesting to me. That just some of the things that I've already discussed, but he mentioned it as he called it the ripple effect. And I've talked about this, and I've also called it the ripple effect, but I like to talk about how we pay it forward, and that when you do something positive, there is this effect that happens. Like, for example, when I help this young lady, feel better about herself, this sad face belly, and now look at the belly button, right? Things tighten up, the skin tightens up. When I helped her to feel better that way, she sees herself differently. That's the ripple. Okay. Physically, I changed it. The ripple is she starts to see herself differently. And when you start to see yourself differently, you start to feel differently. And as you feel differently, you think differently. As you think differently, you're able to make different decisions. How does that work? When you're depressed, angry, and unhappy, you will make certain type. You will only have access to the decisions to make in this realm, the realm that this level of energy allows you in. When you elevate your energy, you become happy, you become inspired, you become motivated. When you elevate your energy, you have access to a whole nother potential host of options in your life. Listen to this. When you're at a lower energy state, you only have access to those lower energy states. Okay? At a higher energy state, so when you feel better about yourself, you're happier, you have this energy, this higher energy state of being, you have access to the higher energy states. What is that? That's the happiness, the focus, the motivation, the inspiration. You'll have access to those. And when you have access to those states of being, you start to make different decisions. And then those different decisions, that's the ripple that Jay Shetty's talking about. Those little decisions, those are the ripple. And as it ripples out of you by the decisions that you're making, all those people around you that see the decisions that you're making, you start to inspire and motivate them. It ripples out even further. And now those people, the same thing happens to them. They start making different decisions, and then their decisions can ripple out into other people. Now, the question is, how far does it ripple? And how far it ripples is directly proportionate to the size of the splash. So imagine this, right? Okay, so if we take this big boulder and you throw the boulder into the water, it's gonna big splash and a huge ripple, right? And the ripple will span out all the way across the lake or the ocean. It goes way out, far, right? In contrast, you take a little pebble. So I say thank you. It's a little drop in the water. Saying thank you gave you a smile. That smile rippled, and the people around you were affected because you feel better about it. That's a small ripple, right? So it's proportionate to the splash. And when we're talking about what we're doing, and with the liposuction, we make huge dramatic change. Big, like I'm gonna take like a boulder, throw it out in the water, and a gigantic splash. Okay, gigantic splash. I'm telling you, this stuff will completely transform your life if you allow it to, because you have access to the different energy levels. Now, some people choose to elevate, and some people don't. And you see this in life, a lot of people do this. Some people will choose to advance, and some people will choose to be comfortable. And comfort and complacency is the dream killer. That is what's going to stop you from achieving everything. It's I'm comfortable. When comfortable people don't do shit. It's the uncomfortable people that advance and they grow and they keep pushing. And it's those people that achieve and accomplish all the things that are amazing in this life. It's the uncomfortable people, not the comfortable people. People think like the wealthy people, they're comfortable. That's bullshit. Wealthy people are uncomfortable most of the time. That's the only reason why they are where they are. It doesn't take, when you're comfortable and you're chilling, you don't have anything to bother you. You make just enough money so you don't have to worry about your bills. Like chill. I don't have to go out and work hard. But as soon as you put me in the position where I don't have what I want, like I want the shit, I'm gonna work harder for it. Right? You take my food away, I'm gonna be hungry. And it's the same thing with you. If you keep giving yourself comfort and you keep residing in this comfort level, you won't move. In fact, in many cases, you start sliding backwards. Especially after these procedures, it's like I have to light a fire under your ass to get you moving. You got to get up and move. And then it's a mental motivation. You have to be mentally motivated to make the right decisions. And it's a simple decision. It's not complex things. Now, I highly suggest, this makes it way easier. Start with the ketone supplement. That's the beginning. That's the start of the path. you get this ketone supplement, it helps in a lot of different ways, and I'll explain how. A lot of times, how you get in this situation, this heavier set individual, how you get in those situations is because you're sweet tooth. You have a hard time. The reason why people get bigger is because of the carbohydrates and the sugar. So if you have a sweet tooth, you crave it. And what happens when you eat a lot of sugar? This is biologically what happens. In our intestines, there are bacteria that grow. It's yeast. It grows to consume the sugar, and the yeast will consume the sugar, and the more sugar you eat, the more it proliferates and grows. And so the yeast is not good. And the more yeast that you grow into in your intestines, the more that yeast will crave the sugar. And this is the crazy shit. That yeast is not you. However, it emits a chemical that causes you to crave sugar. Now here's the crazy shit. It's not you craving it. It's the yeast emitting this chemical, which makes you think that you're the one that's craving it. It's bullshit, huh? It's bullshit. And once you learn this stuff, it might allow you to shift and change your mind. And once you shift and change your mind, you'll start making a different decision. Now the ketone supplement has been shown to block the hormone ghrelin. Ghrelin is this hormone that is secreted in our body to tell you that you're hungry. And so if we can block that, and then you're not getting this signal that's telling you that you're hungry, and then you don't have the same cravings. And if you don't have the same cravings, then perhaps it makes it a lot easier. And that's what happens for most people. And because it's easier to not have the cravings, people can eat less. And when you eat less, you can get better results, lose more weight. And the recommendations for this ketone supplement are to do and you want to couple it with intermittent fasting. And so the process, what this looks like is, in the morning, you take your ketone supplement, and that's going to make it easier to not eat breakfast. So you don't eat breakfast, and you go all the way through to about 2 o'clock. And you can eat right around 2 or 3. You can start eating at that point. You can have a snack, and then perhaps a dinner later in the evening. But the key is that you have to focus on reducing the carbohydrates and the sugar. You don't have to be perfect, but focus on reducing. So as you reduce the carbohydrates and the sugar, it'll help elevate your level of ketosis. As you fast, the intermittent fasting elevates your level of ketosis, and then couple that with ketones, and now you're at a high level of ketosis all throughout the day, burning fat consistently. And that's when you get the results. And as I said, just recently, we just had a patient who is taking the ketones only for a week, and she's lost 12 pounds already. She's super excited for her procedure. Now, at this conference that I was just at, I talked to like hundreds of people, and I couldn't believe the breadth of benefits that people have appreciated from these ketones. And weight loss was just a small fraction. In fact, nobody really wanted to talk about it because it's not about the weight loss. The weight loss is just the consequences. And I know that a lot of my patients, a lot of you that are following here, the weight loss is the biggest thing for you because that's what you're struggling with. And I know that's cool. That's why we got this. But the ketone supplements benefits are far outweigh that. And what are we talking about here? We're talking mental clarity. And when I say mental clarity, let's give it a little bit more definition here. I met lots of individuals that had major issues with depression and suicidal tendencies. There was at least 5 individuals that claimed, and I know who knows, right? Who claimed that they were suicidal and they're ready to commit suicide, had a note and all this stuff, and they started taking these ketones and something happened. And the weird thing is that I heard the same story repetitively. And I'm the type of person that I pay attention to patterns, and I see patterns all the time. And so what I heard is this pattern. And these individuals say that when they start drinking the ketones, it's almost as if there's a trigger, a switch that gets flipped in their brain, and all of a sudden their brain works. I heard that so many times. I don't know exactly what that means. But I'm sure when you experience that flip and switch, that my brain is working now, I'm sure you'll understand. And it's to me, it's awesome, right? So these individuals that were depressed, so it helps with depression. Well, it also works with Alzheimer's, right? It works with seizures. It works with what's that? Parkinson's disease. All the brain stuff. All the brain stuff. The ketones. Our brain functions way better on ketones than on sugar. Way better. So that's where you're going to get this mental clarity. And when you get the mental clarity, it helps change. Like I said, when you start thinking differently, you start making different decisions, and you start to feel differently. And so as you start to feel differently, it's a cycle. It circles back, and so the better feeling stimulates the hormones to again make you feel better. Okay, we got a couple questions here. I'm gonna see if I can run through these. Can I do lipo if I had thyroid and varicose veins? Yes, no problem with that. Either one of them. Let's see. How much does lipo cost to the arm? So any of your pricing questions, you're gonna go to our link tree. Up in let's see, on Instagram it's up in the profile, and I also I pinned the link tree here on the comment here, so you can get that. So once you get on the link tree, you're gonna get the quick quote, and the quick quotes are quick, easy, simple, free, pricing structure where you can get prices immediately while we're talking right here. Will you have any Christmas specials? I'm like the Grinch. No, I'm just kidding. No, it's hard for us to do specials because, anytime we offer specials, the individuals who are already scheduled expect to get that special, and so it's a huge loss for us. So it's not really, the only time I do specials is when we're struggling, and we're not struggling now. Our prices are uniformly across the board. They're very, very reasonable. So you'll find that we have good deals, and I do good deal. It's a good deal all the time. Occasionally we do discounts and stuff like that, but that's when things are really, really slow, and it's just not slow right now. People are spending money, so it is what it is. Our schedule's full, so that's the important thing. Lisa, are you located in California? We are not. We're in Las Vegas. Okay, let's see. Where are you located? We're in Las Vegas. I definitely need a consultation. So the consultations can be found on the link tree. The quick quote is for pricing, and the formal consultation is when you're serious and you're ready to move forward. Sonia says, staying in our comfort zone does not allow us to grow and progress. That is facts right there, facts. And let me just illustrate this a little bit for you. When you go to the gym, if you are not in pain and you're not feeling the burning, you are not growing at the gym. In fact, Arnold Schwarzenegger said that when he works out, he doesn't even start counting until he feels the burn. Because to him, it's not even working out unless you're feeling the burning of the muscle. That's where the growth happens. It's where all of it happens. And it's usually the last 5 or 10% of what you do. And a lot of people cut it short before they get to that point, and that's why they don't grow. And unfortunately, this translates to life. And all the things that you do in your life, there's going to be a struggle. Like change and accomplishments, these are all difficult, and there's some degree of pain. And when I say pain, I'm not saying physical. I'm talking about like mental pain. The stuff that it's when we say it's hard, right? These things are not necessarily hard, but you have to just continue to push yourself far beyond your limits so you can figure out where those limits actually are. And here's the cool thing is like when you push yourself beyond what your perceived limits are, you stretch yourself. And once you're stretched, you never contract back. Once you expand your mind, it never contracts back. Now, you can do this by pushing yourself, or you can have other people push you. So this is why people get trainers. This is why people join teams. This is why people have like workout partners. These people help push you. I've personally found, this strength within me that I've been able to push myself. And not everybody has that. Not everybody can show up like that. Not everybody has the willpower, the discipline. It was something that I've developed and I worked at for years. Lots of repetitions and lots of sacrifice, lots of pushing through challenges and perceived fears. And once you push past something, you realize that it wasn't as hard as you thought it was. And so I like to say, I've walked through the fire and I realized that I didn't get burned. And now I'm comfortable in the fire because I'm not scared. I'm not worried that I'm going to get burned because I already know I'm not going to. That I can take the heat. And eventually you'll figure that out. But it's hard for you. It's hard for your brain to realize that. Like for example, when I go back to the working out thing. When you're working out and you feel the burn, at some point you're like, your brain will start to tell you like, oh my God, it's too much. Oh my God, we gotta stop. We gotta stop. We gotta stop. That's what the brain starts to say. You are the one in control, not the brain. You tell the brain what to do. You ask the brain for help. Okay, but you're the one that needs to tell the brain, no, chill out. We can handle this. We can handle this. That's what you got to be able. You got to develop that. And when you start developing that, you start realizing who the fuck's in charge of your life. And it's not that this crazy monkey brain that keeps telling you it's too hard and you can't do this and you're stupid and you're not good enough. That's the monkey brain. Okay, you got to, if you can get past that and realize that that's not even you, that somehow, I don't even know how these ideas come in. I haven't figured this. I've been studying this stuff for a long time, this mystical, spiritual stuff. I don't know where these ideas are coming from. And this is where people say like God or universal intelligence, or like, where do the ideas come from if you're not thinking of them? And so you feel like I'm thinking of like, but why is it that I have an idea and someone else in the room has the exact same idea at the same time? Okay, where did it come from? I still don't have an answer for this, but what I can tell you is that the thoughts that you're having is not you. It's not you. You're the one that's making the decisions. You're the one that gets to observe everything that you're doing in this life. You get to observe everything. The mind tries to put meaning to everything. The truth is there's really no meaning. There's no positive, there's no negative with any of these things. It's not positive or negative, it's just what you determine it to be. If you say it's bad being fat, then it's bad being fat. If you say it's good being fat, then it's good being fat. That's it. It's what you determine it to be. And unfortunately, our determination is not what many of us follow. What many of us follow is what other people think. Big problem. If you're focused on what other people think, then you're not in your own brain. You're not focused on yourself, because the only one that really matters is you and your decisions and the way that you think about yourself. Now, if you can control your thought process and what do they call it? The self-talk, super important. The self-talk. If you're talking to yourself negatively, the subconscious hears that and believes it. If you're saying, I'm so stupid, I used to do this, I used to make mistakes. Fuck, I'm so dumb. Why did I do that? It's so stupid. Why? And I used to say these things, but that's wrong, because that filters down to your subconscious. So have some kindness with yourself. When something happens, like, dang it. Well, better luck next time. I'll do it again. And then what happens? You jump right back up and you do it again, and it's no big deal. Okay, but when you feel bad for yourself, you could easily spiral into a depression. Easily. And that's just the self-talk. That's the way that you speak to yourself. If you believe those things, then they're going to be true. Okay. Yes, gross. I know, Sonia, you guys are awesome. Thank you guys for jumping on here today. I'm gonna close this up here in just a minute. So any of you, if you're ready to move forward, the next step is get your formal consultation. The formal consultation is where you get to send in pictures, and I'm going to give you my opinion, and we're going to develop plans specifically to help you get to your goals. If you are just simply kicking the tires, you're looking for pricing, you want to compare, maybe you got a quote from somewhere else and you want to see if we're any different. It's quick, it's easy. We call it the quick quote. You can find it on our website. You can find it up in the profile. You can find it, we pinned it on the comments here. So it's all over the place. It's on our link tree. It's called a formal consultation, or the quick quote is for the pricing. Any of you who want the ketone supplement, that should be your starting point. If you're looking to lose weight and get healthy and become a better version of yourself, the ketone is the starting point. You start with that. Once you start detoxifying your body, you start losing weight, you start getting that mental clarity, the next step will become glaringly obvious for you. For some of you, that might be liposuction. For others, it might just be continuing down the path of weight loss and improvement from that standpoint. But you need to figure these things out by just taking the first step. Stop thinking that you have to know everything all from the beginning. That's not the case. All you have to do is decide, I want to do this. I want to feel better. And so I want to feel better. Now what's the next step? Okay. I want to change my life. Okay. Now what's the next step? I want this full life transformation. Okay. What's the next step? You don't have to know the whole thing. And as you get further down the path, the rest of the path starts to open up. I remember specifically I was running in San Francisco, and we were there on vacation. And at the time I was in one of my running phases, so I was like training for a marathon or something. I'd run like 10 miles a day. And in San Francisco they have all these steep hills, and so I was running hills. They're like, I don't care, I push myself. And I remember I was running in they had this like hillside area. It was kind of like a park. And I was running through it was like a trail, but it was a little foggy. It was probably 6 in the morning. It was foggy, and so I'm running, and I'm like, the trail, it was like ups and downs and twists, and I couldn't see. I could only see like maybe 10 yards in front of me, and I'm running, and I'm like, and it was kind of scary because I could see just far enough for me to take a few steps safely, and I didn't really know exactly where I was going. I couldn't see far enough in advance to see where the path was going, so I didn't really know. But then what I realized, and this is where like the light bulb went off in my head, what I realized is that the further down I got along the path, the more that it opened up. I took 2 steps forward, and I could see 2 steps further. Okay, and then every once in a while, the fog lifted a little bit, and I could see a lot further. Okay, then the fog came back on, and so I think that's the same way as our life is. And sometimes in our life, it's like you can't see that far ahead in the future. You know, you're just not. It's impossible. Nobody can. Nobody can predict so far in the future. It's all a guess. Okay, but most of you, you think that you can see. You think that you should be able to see. You think that you should be able to predict. And when you can't and you don't, it's frustrating as hell. So what I'm saying here is just let the future go. Don't be attached to it. All you can focus on is the now, is how can I become the best version now, and the future will take care of itself. That's how you got to think. How can I take care of myself now, become my best version now? And if I can do that, the future will take care of itself. It'll unveil itself for you. You don't have to do anything. Just take the next step. Take the next 2 steps. And then after that, you'll be able to see better. And then you'll take the next step, and you'll be able to see a little bit further. And then maybe if you're lucky, it opens up a little bit, and you can see a little bit further, right? You just got to keep moving forward. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope I brought a little motivation to you on Mondays, inspired you. Get those quick quotes, get your consultations, and I will see you soon.